Hello? Am I live? I'm supposed to be live. It says I'm live. Can you hear me? Someone type something. Someone say something to me. Say something to me. It's Christmas. I don't expect a lot of people to listen to this. This is gonna be a dumb upload. I don't care. I don't care. No, I do. I promise I'll stop making dumb uploads. The past few have been stupid because they're all Christmas themed. Okay, good. You can hear me. I watched The Joker last night. And I feel like talking about it because I'm alone by myself on Christmas. No, I saw The Fam. Did you all have a holly jolly Christmas? I would say mine was pretty holly jolly. It was fine. Uh, but yeah, now I'm here alone, and I want to talk. I was trying to talk to Phenomenology Club about Joker, but I realized, um, that I can't talk about it without posting spoilers. So I assume anyone who clicks this knows that you will have spoilers. Spoiler alert! Don't listen to this if you haven't seen The Joker and care about spoilers, which you should. Well, I mean, I don't know. I can't tell you what to do, but I mean, I'm someone who doesn't even watch trailers because, yeah, fuck that. Like, oh wait, hold on one sec. Yeah, I don't watch movie trailers, and if I do, it's on accident. Like, I will close my eyes during the previews at movie theaters because trailers are just fucking ridiculous. They're like 10 minutes long. First of all, like, they literally go through every fucking twist. It's like absurd. Most trailers are like a fucking joke now. It'll like go through and like have someone rip their mask off, and the person's like, I can't believe it was you the whole time. So you're my dad? Oh my god. Like, why should I even see this fucking movie? Literally, you gave me everything. It's bullshit. I don't even know if the movie's out to rent, or I think I saw a pirated version. I don't think it's out to rent yet. I assume you guys saw it. What'd you think? Did you like it? Did you like it? Someone says it was too much for them, but they're a pussy. Yeah, you're a pussy. What was too much for you? Like the violence? I didn't feel like it was super violent. So Joker, I'm a Batman fan, even though that's controversial. I mean, I'm someone who hates like all superhero films, but I do enjoy Batman because Batman is a human. And I go into my thoughts on this in great detail if you're interested on my superheroes are aesthetic upload. But yeah, like I was thinking about it actually, how part of the reason that I think we're able to have so many like Batman films and so many Joker films, really, though. I mean, this is the first one that's just about the Joker, not, there's really not much Batman. um I feel like the reason that you're able to have all these interesting like interpretations of these roles that are greatly different from each other. I mean, we've had so many Batmans of different temperaments and personalities, like Michael Keaton's Batman is so different from Christian Bale's Batman. I feel like the same is true for Joker. Like, this Joker is so different from Jack Nicholson, who's probably my favorite Joker, you know, because they're human. Because if they weren't human, I feel like, what would be so interesting that an actor could do? I feel like when they do all these different iterations of superhero movies, it's like the different thing is like, ooh, he's got the supersonic suit. Ooh, he's got the super tight suit with the fucking thing. I mean, this is true in Batman too. I remember when the Val Kilmer Batman came out. I think it was the Val Kilmer Batman. Remember, his suit had nipple impressions. That was like a big deal for myself. Seeing the Val Kilmer Batman with nipples, I was like, what the fuck? Batman's got space for his nipples. He must have some like extreme nipples that he had to, I don't know what this suit's made out of, but like he had to make impressions for his nipples to occupy. So that Batman has some serious nipples. That's crazy. But this film Joker, I heard about it way before it came out because there was all these like reviews of it. that I guess weren't even reviews. It was like people commenting before they even saw the fucking thing, being like, do we really need another movie about like a white guy like shooting people up and stuff? Like, this is already the reality or whatever. And it's like, okay, I understand. I'm someone with a big mouth. I like to comment on everything, and I have thoughts about everything. But I feel like to comment on a thing like a film before you've seen it, like at least putting forth this strong agenda, like I feel like you might just be shooting yourself in the foot, you know, because like these criticisms that we were exposed to before the film came out, I feel like they kind of like really they really fall flat now for those of us who've seen the film. And I don't know if these criticisms continue. Do any of you know? Like, what did people say about the movie when it came out? Because all this criticism that I saw about the film seemed to happen like before the film came out. And then the film came out, and all I really heard was like a lot of people liked it, you know? And I didn't hear a lot of these like reviews where we're talking about how, like, you know, it's like a justification or like apologetic for like you know, like white dude shooting people up. Um and yeah, I don't really appreciate these kinds of attitudes in general because I mean, for one, like I'm somebody who thinks like it's like I understand why you might have a proverbial rolling of the eyes when you see a film that you think has a political message that you don't align with. Something like, you know, I don't know, like being like pro incel or pro like white anger or pro this or that. Like, I understand feeling like a sense of dissatisfaction and exasperation, like, oh, this again. Because, you know, these kinds of things are, you know, there's all types of valid criticisms you can have, but I feel like it's a movie, you know, like people. I feel like the importance of films in general, like messaging. I just feel like the idea that they really influence culture in profound ways is kind of overstated. You know, what's a film that really changed culture? You know, can you think of one? I can't. I really can't. I think it's definitely true that certain films like inspire people to action and even help people like take on different worldviews and challenge their own worldviews and have new ideas about this or that. But like, are films really like this amazing force of like political messaging? I think the emphasis or the importance of how films work in culture is definitely overstated. It's kind of like romanticized. I don't think films are half as impactful on culture as we like to maybe think, you know. I think film overall is a body of work, as a phenomena, you know, all films, these influence culture, but like one individual film, I don't really think so. So I don't really want to like, you know, contribute to this environment where people are like talking about films like we need to be careful of the messaging, because I don't think we really, I mean, shit, I don't think films really like be changing people's lives like that. And I'm a filmmaker. I have a degree in fine arts. I went to SAIC, so we didn't have specific focuses technically, but my focus was in film. So I'm not trying to shit on films, okay? I love films. I make films. Film is my favorite format, even though I think it's on its way out, which is very sad and devastating and traumatic for myself. I think that the 2D image is on its way out. Sad as I am to say that, I think cinema has really already kind of peaked. And now we're just on our way to something. No art format is truly timeless. Sabumetry says, it all comes clear when you realize everyone is not really offended or has strong feelings about a movie. It's all fake. All fake. It's all fake! Yeah, I mean, I don't know. I do think that films on an individual level can, like, you know, really impact us in meaningful ways. But I don't think that we should approach films as a group with this understanding that, like, you know, a film can, like, really, like, you know, change people's lives in such a dramatic way that we need to be super careful about what kinds of messages we're putting out there into the world, you know. Like I said, there's all sorts of reasons why you... Have I seen The Lighthouse, asked Diani Rodriguez? Yes, I've seen The Lighthouse, and I have a review for The Lighthouse on this channel. This is the second movie review I've ever done. The first one was The Lighthouse. So go check it out. Excuse me. Okay, let me talk about the movie. So I liked it quite a bit. For one, I thought the cinematography and the lighting was excellent. It didn't blow my fucking mind, but I think that the standard for cinematography and lighting has dropped so low. The bar is so low that to see a film like Joker, which was actually shot pretty nicely, with really good camera and editing especially, I thought that the editing was probably my favorite part. Gotta say, the editing was on point. Whoever did that, I read his name, but I forgot it already. I think it was Josh something. Whoever you are, great job. The editing was my favorite part. I thought it was kind of unconventional, some of the timing decisions. With the editing, it was great. It was great. But also, you know, the edits would be nothing also without, you know, the cinematography. The angles that they chose were perfect. In some of these edits, I'm thinking of, you know, as a filmmaker, I found some of the decisions very, very interesting. So I like that, and I thought it looked good. It looked great. I think I I think that what was most interesting about watching it was watching it with this knowledge of what kind of critiques I'd been exposed to about it, the ones I was just talking about, you know, this idea that like it offers some sort of justification or functions as some sort of apologia for, you know, like lone white men committing acts of terror in our communities and stuff. And I don't feel like that criticism holds after seeing the film. I mean, what do you guys think? Because it was interesting because in the film, right, the Joker kills these people that were being assholes to him, and it like incites a political movement. And it's interesting because it's like he killed them out of some like selfish sort of impulse, you know. He didn't have to kill them because they probably weren't gonna kill him. But people saw this happen and were like, they got all riled up and it became like a political movement. So it's like, how do we navigate this? What do we think about like the ethics of his actions? Because it's not that he purposefully wanted to incite this sort of, you know, cultural uprising of the lower class against the oppressive powers that be. But that's what ended up happening, and he took great joy in that. Some people did great reviews of the movie. Fine, well, I'm doing another one. This won't be a great review. Like I said, I'm just antsy and I want to talk. This probably is going to be dumb. It's not be stupid. I hate it. I hate this already. I'll give my criticisms first, actually. My only criticisms, I have a few. The first one is, spoiler alert, I did not like how there's this moment where we're led to believe that Joker is brothers with Batman. How did you guys feel about that? I hated that. Like, when that happened, I was like, you can't just do that. And I don't even know, like, Batman canon. I'm not a Batman expert, but that just felt like such a strong decision for a filmmaker to like put into a new entry into the Batman franchise, that Joker and Batman are brothers. That pissed me off. Okay, I was like, how dare you? How dare you? You just got here, guy. What's his name? The director, Todd Phillips or something. Like, you can't just come in here and say Batman and Joker are brothers. That's a little much. That's a little bold. And of course, it turns out that this is not true. But I was offended. I can't lie, because you know what I thought was going to happen, and what I think would have been much better, though it makes sense actually when you consider the ending. But what I thought was happening was that I thought that they were not going to mention Bruce Wayne at all, and that it was going to be sort of implied, because when they brought up this Thomas Wayne character, this rich guy on the TV, I assumed that would be someone in Bruce Wayne's family, but not necessarily his father. I assumed maybe it would be like his uncle, because Bruce Wayne comes from, like, this amazingly wealthy family. I thought maybe Thomas Wayne was, like, his father's brother or something. This was part of, like, some, like, Wayne Enterprises, which I think would have been nicer. But I don't know if that could work then with the ending. I just think the whole inclusion of Bruce Wayne honestly was sort of unnecessary. If they had just taken out Bruce Wayne as a child altogether, I think that would have been stronger. They didn't have to show this thing happen at the end, that, like, Joker, this uprising of Joker supporters had anything to do with the murder of Bruce Wayne's parents, right? I just feel like they could have kept Bruce Wayne out of it altogether. I think they should have. That's me. That's me. Because you can't just come in here and flip everything around like that, That brief time period when I believe that they were trying to tell me Bruce and Joker were brothers, didn't like that, okay? That's my first criticism. My second criticism is that ending felt so tacked on. Like, what the hell? They should have ended it right when Joker is in the crowd getting wild applause and praise from all these other Jokers. Because that would have made much more sense as an ending, Joker in the street and the people are embracing and celebrating him. It would have made sense because what they did instead. I mean, it's obvious that the ending was, like, so tacked on, like where they have him now in the mental hospital and then or in Arkham, and then he breaks free, it's implied, when he walks away with the bloody footprints. It's like, what was the whole purpose of this thing, to be like, oh, they committed him and then he got out? It doesn't make sense. And it's not that it doesn't make sense, because who cares? The whole movie's fictional. It doesn't have to make sense. None of it really makes sense if you really want to, like, get into it. But this is my argument for why they should have ended it. And it's obvious that they thought about ending it at this part. And probably the studio or something made them end it with this little, like, mental health, like, fucking extra scene that didn't even serve any purpose. They should have ended it on him just getting praise from the people in the street, because it makes sense then that, well, it seems more like the people would have protected Joker, It's like an argument for how the Joker came to prominence. I mean, the whole movie is this thing, like, showing Joker's origin story or whatever, and the people embrace him. But to show that, and then the mental health scene right after, the mental hospital, it's like, well, it's kind of implied that the people didn't really take they didn't take any measures to protect their new guy, What the hell? What the hell were all these guys doing? They're out here fucking blowing up cop cars. No one was like, hey, I got a warehouse you could hide out in, guy. How did they arrest him? The streets were in total fucking uproar. Huh? Why didn't someone take the Joker somewhere and let him stay at their fucking house? I thought that would have been a great ending, because it solidifies the idea that Joker's, becomes such a prominent figure in the Batman franchise this way. That the people, he goes underground and has gets all his little Joker henchmen and shit, Wow, Kangaroo says, I didn't realize how much older Joker was than Batman. Well, that was another thing I just wasn't vibing with. I'm like, because how old is Joaquin whatever? He looks like he's like 45 at least. Older than that? Like, he's that much older than Bruce Wayne? How old was that little kid? 12? That's pretty big. So by the time Batman is big, Joker's like what? Like 70-something? I don't know. But I liked it. And I thought it was interesting, and how there's really no clear-cut morality. I mean, did you guys feel this way? It definitely makes Joker more of a sympathetic character, which I thought was interesting, and this is why people, I mean, I think this is why the film probably was so successful, because we've never seen such a thing for Joker, you know, like, the idea that he might be a sympathetic character in and of himself. But, I mean, did you guys sympathize with the character? I didn't really sympathize for the character, but but you felt very much like he was a product of his environment, you know? So there is a justification offered. He is like the sympathetic vehicle, kind of, but I didn't necessarily like feel super. I didn't feel sorry for him. I just felt sorry for the world. Sorry that people exist in this environment where such things can happen, you know? But I thought that it was a very thoughtful retelling of the Joker's story. What did you think of the wide lens apertures? What do you mean by that? The apertures of the wide lens? What, because wider lenses. What? Need more light? What do you mean by that? The wide lens aperture. I mean, wider lenses do need more light, right? So they gotta open up more. I don't know, shit. I thought that it looked good. The only scene that I thought I didn't like the exposure too much was when he's walking down the stairs, and it says "Don't forget to smile" on that little sign, and he crosses out "forget to," and then goes downstairs and kicks the door open, and the bright sunlight washes him out and makes him like look like, you know, some sort of alien, like, for a second. I didn't like that because I have a personal hang up with totally blown out images like that. I didn't like that. I wish that they shot that scene when the sun had begun setting a little bit, so they could have opened up, or they could have lit the interior a little brighter, so that when he kicked out into the light, it wasn't quite that blown out. It could have been blown out, but not quite that blown out. And that's my nerdy opinion. But speaking of light and apertures, I actually really appreciated the scene where he suffocates his mother in the hospital bed. And then he's just staring out the window into the bright sunlight. I thought that was nice. Like, thinking about it really set a mood. Like, in so many films, you know, there's dark. The mood is dark and the light is dark to set the mood for like an event, you know. So things that happen in bright light, I think, like, that's still new enough of an idea that it still presents as kind of novel, you know, murdering in broad daylight. This was part of the success of the Midsummer film, I think. A lot of people really like the fact that it's a horror movie that takes place primarily during the day, you know. There's only like one death scene, I think it was. The guy that's like writing his thesis going to... Oh, wait, shit, sorry. This wasn't a Midsummer spoiler upload. I won't give Midsummer spoilers, but that film's very bright. But yeah, I don't know. How'd you like it? I imagine people are still mad, probably, because they're like, well, are you trying to say mental health makes people violent or something? Mental health makes people assholes or something, you know? I imagine that those criticisms still exist, but I don't feel like that was the messaging either, you know? It was just kind of like a cocktail for disaster. And I like that there was an emphasis put on... I mean, I felt that the political messaging was pretty positive in that regards. It really makes an argument for how these incredible systems of injustice that we exist in, with things like great wealth disparity and our mental health population, our mentally ill population just being cast out onto the streets, you know, people having to live in garbage. I really liked how this was like, you know, the film opens up with like the newscaster talking about how the garbage people are on strike, so the trash is just piling up in this city and it's become a health hazard. That was like a great plot device, I felt. And, you know, in key moments of the film, you see that the trash bag piles are just getting higher and higher, you know. I thought that was a really cool artistic device. But I thought that the message was pretty positive in that way, you know. That people are all products of our environments, and these systems of wealth and inequality are really they're the problem. The problem is not that people just exist and are bad or are violent. We have people who struggle with things like mental health in this, but that it's not like his mental illness was the impetus for him to commit violence. His real problem was the world that he exists in, bruh. And that's such a poignant moment. That's such a poignant message to think about on Christmas. This day where, we're all supposed to satiate ourselves with images of goodness and peace and merry goodwill towards men, yada fucking yada. When outside the trash is just piling higher and people are walking around barefoot begging for change, and we're all telling ourselves we should just be so thankful for what we have, and yet others don't get to experience this the same way. So that's my Joker movie review. I thought it was good. I liked it. I had a few more little criticisms. I hate it worked here, but I still just wish it worked differently. I hate in movies about like people with mental illness when there's like a moment where it's like, oh, it was all in their head. I didn't like with the girlfriend, because for one, seeing the girlfriend character just didn't really work for me in a lot of ways, because the first few times we see the girlfriend, I just can't believe that a woman so beautiful and so normal seeming is hanging out with this guy. I'm like, why would she like him? He's not Joaquin Phoenix in this world. He's this weirdo fucking clown guy that doesn't have a job and lives with his mom and probably smells like shit. Like, I couldn't believe that she would date him. And then by the time it's like, it was all a dream, I was like, So that just didn't really work for me. And then why did they play Rock and Roll Part 2 in the part where he was dancing on the stairs? Like, why that song? That was a terrible song choice. In general, some of the music was a little overstated. I feel like people should just, as a rule of thumb, filmmakers should try their hardest to not include popular music in their films, in my opinion. I don't like when there's popular music in a film. Just don't. Like at the end, in that last scene at the Arkham Asylum, where he's singing the song, I'm like, first of all, most people don't even recognize this song, so it's not like it's gonna have some sort of like, cultural, like, it's not like it's gonna have impact on the average viewer. Did you guys recognize that song he was singing at the end? I did not. And I'm like, why? And then it comes in, I'm like, ugh. But I will say that I really liked the edit out of Rock and Roll Part 2 on the steps. It should have started as like a fun, maybe it could have been a song from popular culture, not that one. Also, the mixing was so weird on that scene. I just can't even describe it. And it just went on too long. Like, should have just played some pop culture banger for a little bit at the top of the stairs. And then I really liked the edit with it goes into slow-mo, and then it's got like the slow hitting, like, it sounds almost like church bells. To transition us into like the orchestral music and the slow-mo as he descends the staircase. Oh, that was another thing I really liked about the performance. My favorite part of his performance, I think, the laughter was great. But also my favorite part was this like dancing that he did. It's so obvious he was studying some kind of dance. I'm not a dance expert, maybe ballroom dancing or something. He obviously like studied some kind of dance to integrate into this character, which I really, really liked. I thought that was original, and I thought that it added a dimension to the character that was cool. It was unique. Everyone's supposed to like give their own flavor. If you're an actor and you get hired to play Joker, you better think of something fun and original. And I also wonder, like, I'm encouraged in general by this this new emergence, it seems like, of actors who are getting interested in like body acting, like full body acting. I think that the reason a lot of people really appreciate, what's the guy's name who played Pennywise in the new It films? Something Fassbender or something, I think. Like, he obviously, I mean, that role is very body. Like, he's doing crazy shit with his body. And it makes me think of, like, Butoh in particular. I wonder if both of them, I'm sure, I mean, they're actors and they live in LA, and I'm sure they go to art museums and shit. I'm sure they both know what Butoh is. Um, which is like a style of horror dance, you could call it, performance that comes from Japan in the 80s. I forget the name of the man that invented it, but it's like a beautiful, horrific form of performance. And in both of these performances, the Pennywise dude and also the Joker now, I feel like both of them used this kind of idea, these elements, this full body acting style, making your body actually grotesque and shit. Like, the scene where we first see Joaquin Phoenix's back, and it's just, I mean, he's obviously posing in some sort of extreme way to make it look so grotesque. I thought that was nice. It looks so grotesque, I almost wondered if there was some sort of prosthetics or like digital imaging involved in that scene, because that looked fucked up. Bill Skarsgård was Pennywise, yeah. Yeah, he did a great job. And I'm encouraged to see acting go in that direction. I hope it continues that way, because I just hate modern acting. I fucking hate it. It's so boring. Everyone just acts like themselves. It's like the standard for modern acting is to act natural. And that's so boring. If I wanted to see people act natural, bitch, I'd go outside or I'd watch YouTube videos. I don't want to see people act natural. I want to see the drama. The drama. Give me the drama. Because, this is why old films, some of my favorite performances ever are from early 20th century films, like Gloria Swanson in Sunset Boulevard and Orson Welles and all of his various films. These are my favorite kinds of performances because they're completely the opposite of natural. They're purely drama infused. And the reason that acting started out, I mean, you see more and more of it near the beginning of the century, is because the mode of acting was, it came to be actualized in the theater. And we all know in the theater, you have to act big, literally. You have to make big, grand gestures. You have to make sweeping gestures, not only with your body, but with your voice, your projections, You have to be big so that the audience can literally see you or read something from your performance, because to most of the people in the audience, you're a tiny little fucking figure on a little fucking stage, But as soon as we go to film, I mean, some of the earliest actors are still in this mode, and this is why I think a lot of early film performances are much more interesting and satisfying to watch, because they're still doing this. And then it seems like as time goes on, it became more and more about being naturalistic. And I think that there is something really to be admired, too, for certain film acting performances where, like, if you're acting on stage, people can't see a thing like your eye twitching, for example, I think that there's all sorts of seriously interesting things you can do in consideration of this new context where the film camera has so, what's the word? Zoomed in on, what's the word? Magnified the image. Your face is up in there, so a thing like eye twitching and stuff, or like, to talk about Bill Skarsgård as Pennywise, like that weird eye crossing thing he did, like that would not read on a theater stage. So there's totally like infinitely new variables that open up for film acting. I'm not saying everyone should act like they're on a stage, but I do think that in general, the standard for acting has become like acting natural. And it's like, dude, why? That's easy. That's so easy. Acting natural is the easiest thing in the fucking world. I want that drama. So anyway, that's what I think. That's my thoughts. I'm going to go do some more Christmas stuff. I just had to kill some time. Thank you for letting me do that. Killing that Christmas time. I hope you have a nice, merry, holly jolly rest of your motherfucking Christmas. And, sure, yeah. Have a holly jolly motherfucking